Today on the channel, we got a little bit of a throwback DC McFarlane Toys unboxing and review with Future State Superman and Lobo.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for another McFarlane Toys unboxing and review. And today we're back to DC with the DC Multiverse, Future State Superman, and Lobo. But for all your DC needs and a whole lot more, make sure you're hitting up Entertainment Earth. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10% on all in-stock items. Anything over $79 does ship free. Got to get a deal out there. And I got a deal on Amazon Prime Day with both these figures. I think they were like $12 and change. And two figures I've seen numerous times. I said, I guess I'm going to pull the trigger. Ooh, you Prime Day. You were always getting the best of me. And that's what they did here. And of course, Superman, everybody knows. Lobo, a very popular character in the 90s. We'll talk about that a little bit here when we get to his figure. But of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. And I guess we'll start off with a little Lobo first here. A little 90s goodness is Lobo. And in a lot of ways, Lobo was kind of positioned as the answer to Wolverine in some ways, I always felt in the 90s. You know, you always saw Wolverine with Bub, and there was always posters of Wolverine in my local comic book stores I always went to. And the DC kind of matched those with Lobo. You know, a guy with a lot of personality. I don't know, they just kind of felt very similar. And I'm not by any means a Lobo expert, but I always felt like they were trying to kind of make him the DC version of Marvel's Wolverine. And I could be off on that, but that was just my young child perception and the old perception on the old playground. And the playground never steers you wrong unless it does. There you go. But there's old Lobo looking good in the package. A little bit of a beefy figure here, old Lobo. Not the most iconic Lobo for me. His face is just a little bit off, at least in my estimation when I close my eyes and think of Lobo, but we'll see when we get him out of the package here. DC Multiverse, of course. Up top here, 22 points articulation, McFarlane Toys, all that kind of fun stuff. DC Rebirth, so maybe it isn't the classic Lobo I'm thinking of. This is the DC Rebirth edition. Lobo on the side there, and then on the back, got a little image of the card, I do assume, back here, and then you got a little cross-sell down below. Who else is in here? Oh my gosh, Shriek Unmasked, that figure haunts a generation. Wonder Woman, King Shazam, Dr. Fate, and the Bat Cycle. Some perennial shelf warmers is what that is. Peg warmers to the next degree. Definitely a rough collection of figures in this line here, at least in this series, I should say. There it goes. Lobo, see you later. You got the background there. We've seen these before. Of course, you get the card. I always do like the card with these. At least it gives you a little bit of story, a little bit of blurbage. See you later. Oh, we're going to try that again. It came back like a boomerang. See, oh, terrible. Worthless. Waste of time. See you later. Up high. See you later. Oh my gosh, goodbye. We do get the DC stand. We've seen him before. We'll see him again. And then we do get down to Lobo here, DC Rebirth. Let's read the back here. The last survivor of the planet Zarnia. Oh, Zarnia. Not good this time of year. No survivors. Lobo is an intergalactic bounty hunter that plays by his own rules to get the job done. Though he's fought on the side of the good guys, his crude tactics often put him in direct opposition with superheroes of the Justice League in the DC universe. Lobo has super strength, speed, heightened senses, which help him track his prey across the galaxy. He's also a brutal fighter with regenerative abilities that make him virtually indestructible. So a lot in common with Wolverine, with a little twist, if you ask me. Plastic Prison, oh, I like this. I see something I like that I did not know was a part of this figure here. So definitely got a little bit better for me here, is this figure. But let's pull him out here. Let's cut all this tape and all this stuff going on. Pull his weapon out. Oh my gosh, more tape. What are we doing? Pop this bad boy here. And there it is. Lobo! See you later. Goodbye. All right. I like this a little bit more. I like it a little bit more. So we do get his weapon, which is basically a big old chain here. Big old hook with a claw at the end or a spike at the end. Man, he swings this thing and bam, gets you across the face or around the waist, pulls you in, cuts you up, beats you up. definitely here for this. Definitely an interesting looking weapon, no doubt about it. Definitely a good coloring on that. It looks like it's seen some things. It's been used a few times. Now we get down to Lobo, and the thing I was talking about that I really liked, I didn't know, he's got like a biker jacket. It says "Bite Me, Fanboy" on the back, so kind of a tongue-in-cheek type thing. Really do like the old jacket going on. Definitely looks good. Got a big old tattered, torn wife beater underneath. The jacket, all kinds of different, I almost want to say spikes, and I guess there technically is spikes up on the shoulders, but it's just tears and rips, things like that. Big old forearm tape here, taped fist going on. This is a guy that's not scared to throw a fist if he needs to. There's no doubt about it. Got a big old skull on his belt buckle. Got the studs around here like he's a member of Judas Priest or something. Shout out to old Rob Halford. And then, of course, his Terry Steinbach tribute. Shin guard protection, knee protection. Looking good with the skulls and the spikes throughout. Steel-tipped boots. You wouldn't think of anything less there. And then very cool blue jeans as well. Just definitely a cool looking figure, no doubt about it. Now the head sculpt is where I get lost a little bit. I almost feel like he needs to be chomping on a cigar or something like that, but he definitely has a very ghostly white face going on. Got the beard going on, a little bit of the mustache as well. Not necessarily face paint, I think it's a skin color, but it definitely looks like a little bit of face paint. Black hair with that blue kind of highlighting going on that we see with a lot of action figures from a lot of different lines here. But a very good figure, a hefty figure, a figure that feels really good in hand, I do feel. I think the head sculpt is the weak link, but it could be accurate to DC Rebirth, which I am by no means an expert of, but it's just not my classic version of Lobo, and I wouldn't be shocked to see that classic version one of these days down the line. Of course, articulation, arms go all the way around. Bicep cut, a little bit of shoulder in there, a little butterfly shoulder, not a ton. You do get double jointed elbows, of course, hands back, forth, side to side. Hula hoop and waist, just a little bit there, but you do get some of that. Big old Lobo splits if he needs to. If he needs to jump on a motorcycle or something, he can do that too. You get double jointed knees going on, very tight. Then you get a little bit of ankle up and down, but very tight on these. And then, of course, the McFarlane boot articulation, toe articulation. You got to have that really at the end of the day. For this Lobo, though, you know, for 12 bucks or so, I do not regret this purchase. Definitely an interesting one. Really brings me back to a kid in the 90s going to my local comic book shop. I want to say New Comic Day was Wednesdays. My dad would get off work and we'd go into the old comic shop. We'd go to Toys R Us. We'd make a day of it. All Wednesday. Middle of the week. What a better day. But definitely reminds me of the Lobo posters of back in the day. Whenever I think or hear the name Lobo, I always think of a comic book store in my childhood that I always went to every single Wednesday, and sometimes on the weekends too. There you go. There it is, old Lobo getting the job done. Now we turn our attention to Superman, but a totally different version of Superman. Once again, this is a Superman that I don't know anything about. It is future state. Obviously, it's a story arc there. But definitely it's Superman, but definitely it is different, and I'm here for some difference. And I'm going to pair this with another DC figure we've unboxed on the channel, so stay tuned to that, and I'll pair these guys up together as at least my idea to in this very video. But there's Superman. Same packages, Lobo. We're used to all this kind of stuff going on. DC Future State Superman over there, Superman on that side, and then we get a little artwork. I guess it would be the comic artwork. I'm sure this is the same thing that's on the card as well, and of course we're going to read all about the card here in a second. But let's get old Superman out of the package here. It's definitely Superman. It's just definitely not our Superman. See you later. Goodbye. Let's get this card out. Let's get the stand out. I don't think we need to talk about the stand. I think see you later. We know all about these stands by now, but we do get another stand. I always do appreciate them, though. See you later. Goodbye. And then we get Future State Superman. Oh, my gosh. War and Peace back here. All right. Kal-El Clark Kent. Sent to Earth from the dying planet of Krypton. Once again, not a beautiful planet. As a baby, Kal-El was found by the farmers Martha and Jonathan Kent and raised as their son Clark. As Clark grew up, the radiation from Earth's yellow sun gave him extraordinary powers, which he kept hidden. Now fully grown, he uses his powers to protect his adopted world as Superman. After years of adventure, however, Superman is missing and presumed dead. In actuality, the Man of Steel is across the galaxy, imprisoned by the warlord, by the new Mongol. Forced to fight for his life in the arena and lacking his powers, Superman must stay alive and somehow find a way to return home. So I guess I will put him up with Mongol. We did unbox him on the channel as well. So I guess for the glamour shots, I'll have to grab that Mongol figure. We'll put those guys together. Now we do got him in the old plastic prison. Let's cut some of this stuff out and get ahead of it a little bit. There it is, old Superman. How about I get it a little closer there? Definitely interesting. Now, they said Superman was dead or missing. This wasn't when he died against Doomsday. I think this is a different time, and apparently Superman's had some challenges since I fell out of reading his comics. So we're going to pull him out. Maybe pull him out. There it is. See you later. goodbye. All right, let's get down to business here. Now, Superman coming with some weapons. We got a big old axe going on, brown handle, red kind of rope taped around. Nice silver blade here, dings and dents throughout the blade. It's seen some things, a spike at the top, some spikes on the blade. Definitely an interesting weapon, and you don't think of Superman harnessing weapons very often. You don't, and especially like a shield, but he's got an interesting shield here. There it is, Superman logo going on. But a very wooden-like shield. This looks very old school, like something a Viking would have on a ship or something, but definitely an interesting shield for Superman, something you just don't think of Superman in weapons. Just feels kind of weird. But we get Superman here out of the package. And once again, Superman just, it looks like Superman. I think if somebody was shown this figure and they said, who is this? They would say, hey, oh, it's Superman. It's just not the Superman I think of. And that is definitely the case here. Now, he's Superman that's seen some things. He's got a torn, tattered, beat-up cape going on. Got a little bit of Superman logo going on over here, but he does got a big collar around his neck, like he's been on a leash or something like that. He's been in prison, so we do have that going on there. He does got some nice underwear going on. I mean, this at least left him his dignity. They gave him a little bit of underwear with this. And then you got some boots, and you do got shackles down here again. I would have loved it if they had these actually shackled, and it's the same thing with his wrist shackles. I think it would have been cool if he was all shackled together. I would have liked that. Easily could do that yourself, I guess, if you wanted to. Head sculpt on this, a little bit small for McFarlane, a little bit of a smaller head here. Definitely does look like Superman again, but it is Superman. Got a little 5 o'clock shadow going on. Superman in better days, and I am happy he did get a Fist of Fury, so I'm here for that. I feel Superman always needs a Fist of Fury. That's his main weapon, if you ask me. Or the beams out of his eyes, maybe. Or his super breath. Who knows? He's got a lot of powers, as we do know, Superman. But definitely an interesting one. I don't know if I mentioned the Superman belt buckle. Even if you're almost naked, you got to be fashionable. You got to have the Superman belt buckle, and that's what he's got right here. And then we got the gripping hand, of course, so you can hold his weapons. So you put the weapon in one, shield in the other, and you're off to fight Mongol or anybody else you need to at that point. Articulation, shoulder, you got the butterfly shoulder, you got the arms all the way around. Bicep cut, double jointed elbows, hands back forth side to side, head back forth side to side. Hula hoop at the top, a little bit of waist articulation there. You do get those big old Superman splits if you need them. Double jointed knees, and then you get the ankles back and forth all the way down to the patented McFarlane toe articulation. Now, he does have some dings in the plastic on his chest, on his arms, on his thigh. I think it's supposed to be kind of battle damage. I would have liked it if they kind of painted that red, had a little bit of blood showing. I think that would have been really cool for this Superman. I would have been here for that, but it is what it is, and if you're a customizer, if you're one of those types, you could easily fill that in. It is a blank canvas at the end of the day, but an interesting Superman. By no means the most iconic Superman, but definitely something different. And for $12, once again, I don't like paying full price on my DC McFarlane figures unless it's a character I really resonate with or it's a really cool sculpt or really something cool. But a lot of figures, you get them down from $4 to $12, where I pick up a lot of McFarlane figures. You really can't go wrong at that price, if you ask me, and that's what I've been doing. But I did get this Superman. I was thinking about putting it with this Gladiator Batman on my shelf, kind of having these two look like they were squaring off and going toe-to-toe or something. I felt these two would look good on my shelf together, and maybe they'll be right in front of Mongol, of him standing right behind him. Maybe that's my plan here for the future. But definitely an interesting figure, and definitely interesting Lobo. Still not my iconic Lobo, but actually better than I expected it to be. I really like the paint scheme on the back of the jacket. I like that he's a bigger figure. I'm definitely here for that one. So two figures that really were easy to pass back in the day, but they dropped down to $12. Really felt like I got my money's worth. Felt like this was worth the purchase for me. Basically, buy one, get one free for the most part there. So there it is, Lobo, Superman, Future State. What are your guys' thoughts? You picked these two up a year ago or so? Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day. We got even more content for you on Patreon, including early access to videos like this, bonus content, exclusive content, giveaways, you name it, all over there on the old Patreon. And Patreon, your best way to support this very YouTube channel. You can also support the channel over at ProWrestlingTees.com. Search Kyle Peterson. And don't forget social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter. Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for Batman, Superman, Lobo, I'm Kyle. I'll see you guys all real soon.